Hey everybody, this is Katrina from In Cat We Trust, and we have another episode of Kicking Back with Cat. And today, my lovely guest is Missa Kate. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So, one of the things I've noticed, and just to dive right in there, was that you said you were like a big donut eater, and same because donuts are amazing and yummy. And so, what is your favorite like donut? Like, is it something like those cool combo type donuts? Is it like a super classic kind of donut?
So I don't discriminate against donuts. I'm open to all, but no, like of course you can't go wrong with a classic Krispy Kreme because I'm like it's perfect. But like if I go to Dunkin' Donuts, I usually get like it's called a marble frosted donut where it's like mainly vanilla frosting with like black squiggle stuff on it. Boston cream donut is good too. I don't know. Like I said, I'm the fan. I like anything. So
Yeah, I definitely agree with like the classic Krispy Kreme, like a good glazed donut if that is done well, perfect. And then I like jelly donuts too,
Oh,
so.
oh, that's the one thing I can't get behind. I don't know what it is. Anything with like fruit inside of some kind of pastry, I don't. My brain just can't connect the two for some reason. It just says no,
So
this
that
is
means you
wrong.
hate that you don't eat pie. Then I'm assuming you don't eat pie because of
I
that.
I have. Oh, you don't eat pie, or you saying I don't?
I'm asking, do you? Because you said like the
Oh,
fruit and the pastry.
yeah, I do, but not like it can't be fruit pie. It's literally like Oreo pie, like pumpkin pie, like some kind of cream cheese kind of thing. But
Uh
yeah,
huh.
nothing. I can't have fruit. I don't know. My brain just like no.
So I did research a bit, and I know you said that one of your favorite wrestlers happened to be John Cena. So how do you feel about Peacemaker? Because he impressed me. I was very impressed with the show overall, but I thought he really like expanded his acting chops. And I'm like, okay, John, I see you. So how do you feel about like what he's been doing as far as stepping out of wrestling and then Peacemaker overall?
I'm obsessed. Like I was obsessed with him in wrestling. And I like fell in love with him back in the like Thugonomics days, right? Like most people did. So like he went through this the PG era with WWE where I was like, I still like you, but you're not like the John Cena that I grew up like
Yeah.
falling in love with. So watching him go into like the Peacemaker, like even just kind of like any movie that he's doing, I'm like you could see he's able to fully be himself. And that's for me like I love like I'm a dork. So like when I see people being dorky and just indulging in their dorkiness, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So I'm like, that's probably why I have a crush on him because he's a giant dweeb. So I'm like, any like muscles on top of it, like it's a good combo. So, but yeah, no, the show itself, like, I'm not a comic book nerd. I'm ever since I joined wrestling, I'm doing my research more and more because I'm finding out that there's a lot of comic book nerds in wrestling, which I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I think I should know some stuff about this. I'm more of like a jock. So, which is why I was into John Cena because he was a jock, right? So, yeah, it's just I didn't really know anything about the Peacemaker, so I had to get educated on that. But like, from what I can see, he's doing a great job. And from the first episode, I was just like, what? Like, it was just insane.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, John Cena, like when he first started acting, is a little bit questionable. I think The Rock had that same issue in the beginning. It's just like,
Yeah,
you know,
like the
this is the role
transition.
you're going for in the beginning because you like just left wrestling. But I like to see that he's actually expanding, especially with the comedy. Where I think like when he's playing funny, I laugh like every time, and I'm like, if you can make me laugh because I'm so picky about what I find funny, then that's
Yeah,
good. He's actually have definitely been making me laugh, and then it was really well done. So
yeah. And the
really,
last couple of episodes too, I was like, damn, he's like an amazing actor now. Because the past few episodes, sorry for any spoilers, but like he gets you like emotionally involved because there's a couple times where he's like tearing up, crying about the
yeah.
situation with his brother, right? And I was just like, oh my heart, and I was like, wait a minute, he got me. I was like, he's doing a freaking phenomenal job. So
Yes,
like
definitely.
he's like how you said he's getting a lot better, a lot better.
Definitely. So, how did you feel about Miss Amy Dumas, Lita, in her Elimination Chamber match? Because she's also one of my favorites that kind of had me obsessive for a point where I had to watch everything she did when I was like in middle school. Had to have like everything because she was kind of me. Like I'm like I like pink, but I also am very tomboyish, and so she
Nice.
was like me. And so I'm like, yay, she's like so cool and she can flip and stuff. And so that to me was always amazing. And I know that you also are a fan of her as well. So how do you
Yeah.
feel about that match? Because I was like excited to see her wrestling again.
Yeah, no, I'm getting good as we're talking about. I'm getting goosebumps. No, but like I was like, all right, so I'm TMI, so like I'm PMSing right now. So it takes a lot to make me cry, but anytime she comes out again for like a return, I get a little emotional. So like I watched it today actually because I didn't know it was on yesterday morning, and I had a
Yeah.
show last night. So they had it on during the show. I was like, wait, don't spoil anything for me. But no, I watched it this morning, and the same thing. She came out, and I was just like the little girl in me again. I wanted to cry. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I'm like, she's getting her moment because a lot of people that follow Lita, I know you're gonna know this. She didn't exactly have the best farewell. So yeah, she's kind of made a big joke, which whatever, like shit happened. I get it. No, but none of us were there, so none of us have the right to judge.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. But yeah, so I'm like, and especially your personal life, I feel like shouldn't be what determines your professional life and what you've
Yeah.
done. You know what I mean? Well, so when it
Yeah.
comes to shit like that, as long as you're not like murdering somebody, you know what I mean? Not extreme stuff. But when it comes to personal stuff like that, that shouldn't
Yeah.
be what determines your professional career.
Yeah.
So that made me really sad. So I think that's more so what made me emotional. I got emotional when the first time she came to the Royal Rumble. That she was like,
Same.
"Oh my God, she's here!" Like I totally fangirled out. And but yeah, and she did amazing. She kept up with Becky, and I think that a lot of people. I was reading some reviews were popping up on my phone,
Yeah.
saying where people were surprised by her, and I was like, why are you surprised? Like, I mean, I get it because like she's a little older. I found out she's in her late 40s, if I'm not mistaken, which I had
Yeah.
no idea. I
Yeah.
was like, damn, if I could do that shit in my late 40s. But yeah, it was amazing. What do you think? You were excited?
Yeah, yeah, I'm a big fan of her, and I definitely was upset with her retirement. You know, just I thought it was ridiculous as far as like how everybody kind of was one way with her, but then another way with Edge. Because I feel like Edge got his second coming with that situation, and
Yep.
she did not. And so I did feel away for some years about that actually. So even when she got to the Hall of Fame, I was crying about that because again, I love her. When I got to meet her in person, I cried. Yeah, I got to meet her at a Comic-Con, I think, in 2018, and like I stopped and I was just like, "Is it okay if I like hug you? You don't just hug anybody without permission." So, and she said, "Yeah, no, like you don't." When I tell you, like the obsession was so real, it was so bad. Her and the Hardy Boy, it was a bad obsession. It was so bad. And it was like, yeah, my
Oh
mom.
yeah, no, same. Yeah. Were you crushing on Jeff? Were you crushing on Jeff too?
Yes, you know it's funny because I liked Matt, but then Jeff was just so much, I don't know, entertaining, and then he had like the crazy hair and like
Yeah.
he just flipped off stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so amazing. And after that, the crush was like, I like to the end for Jeff Hardy. It's like to the end, I'm a fan, and so when I got to meet her and just that, and I got to meet Jeff too, but I didn't get to have a conversation the way I wanted to. But even with him, I started crying, and like I was like, he was drinking water. He's like, oh my god, he's drinking water like right there. And so my friend was laughing because she's like, how are you like getting upset? I'm like, you don't understand. Like it's Jeff Hardy, like he's the reason I'm a writer. So I like credit so much to Jeff Hardy in regards to like how I got into wrestling, like really hard into wrestling and then writing. I did like my little fan stories about him, and I was like, 14. So I'm like, listen, I credit a lot to him. So definitely, just it was nice to see. I was hoping she won it. I did do my like predictions for this that I write for, and I'm like, my heart wants Lita to win, because I feel like she could get one more run. Yeah. And then have her get the retirement the way she should have gotten it in the first place. But, you know, we'll see what happens now. I mean, she trained and she did well. And so hopefully, you know, we'll see her back in the title picture at least one more time before she officially put the boots. But I just went in a whole ramble. So sorry.
No, I love it. I could talk about this shit all day. I love it.
So I know you had quite a few cool matches. You won against Sheeta, I believe, in December, which was pretty cool. Emi Sakura, I believe, as well. You had
Mm.
Shotzi Blackheart, who I absolutely love as well. So how was that, like, stepping into the ring with just so many, like, different type styles of wrestling? How was that for you?
It it was like I know I'm like, but I'm like it's cool, it's amazing because I'm like not saying that necessarily. I feel like it's everywhere, whatever area you're in is kind of like I don't want to say the same, but it's very similar.
Yeah,
So when you're able to wrestle people like how you said like they're Emmy and they were like from Japan. And I was just like, I never in my wild, like, I've always wanted to go to Japan. And, obviously because of quarantine and stuff, it's put my head in a swivel where I'm like, is it ever going to happen?
yeah,
But yeah, so that was like the closest that I was ever able to have with that. And it was cool because I got to the back and Colt Cabana was there and he was just like, we're just talking, whatever. He's like, oh, you want to go to Japan now? And I just started bawling because it just, I don't know, I was holding it in, I guess.
yeah,
Because I didn't really I'm there, like I'm very tunnel vision. I'm like, I'm here to work, I'm here to like enjoy myself, I'm here to do this.
yeah,
So I'll put my emotions on the back burner if I can, because again, what am I here for? To wrestle.
yeah.
So just coming back there and him just saying that to me, I was just like, whoosh, like it was just like a wall that hit me, and I was just like, and he thought he made me cry. He was like, no, 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 no. I was like, no, no, it's fine, it's fine. I was like, no, this is like good, happy tears. I'm like, I'm not, like how I said, I'm not like a crier in general. Well, if I cry, it's because I'm angry 90% of the time. But but I'm not a happy crier at all. So yeah, for that to happen, I was just like, damn, I'm like, that's true. Like I didn't even think about it that way. So that was amazing. And just getting advice from them, like when we were talking about our match and after the match and stuff like that and the feedback and I don't know, I was very blessed, to say the least, very blessed. Definitely took stuff away from there where I'm like, okay, this isn't here forever now.
Yeah,
And then as far as Shotzi was actually my first match ever in wrestling. And I was 8 months into training. And my trainer at the time was like, oh, ready to go. And I was just like, I don't think so, but okay. But she was amazing. Like, I can't say enough nice things about her. I did like a little vlog thing when her and I had another match before she actually went off to NXT and WWE. And I'm like very much into like, I guess like fate and everything happens for a reason and signs
yeah,
and all that gooey crap. So pretty much I was her. She had a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday show, and then Monday she was leaving to WWE. I was
yeah.
that first Friday show. So I was like, it came full circle. I'm like, you were my first show in this business. I'm one of your last shows on the indies. So it was just, and like I said, she's great. From day one that I met her, I've had like a couple. I know I've had at least one more match, maybe two more matches, but it wasn't singles matches that we were involved with each other. But she, yeah, I definitely want to wrestle her again. Like every time I get more experienced,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I always want to have another, because I'm like, I feel like there's like I want to have this banger with her. Like it's right there. It wants to happen. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm like, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna make this happen. So more so, like no joke, more so for her, because I'm just like she's done a lot for me. I think even more than she realizes. So yeah, and we're both Lita fans too. So
Yeah, I got to chat with her very briefly during quarantine in like this wrestling group that it's like part of WWE's Connor's Cure. And so a lot of times they'll do things with the wrestlers to raise money for like the treatment and everything. And so I just happened to do the one with had Shotzi and just got to talk to her. She was really, really, really sweet. And I actually got to see one of her last shows also as well before she went to NXT. She was amazing there. I believe it's Evolve. I think it might have been Brooklyn, I'm thinking, before she went to NXT. But I just always thought I like some people who are like different. Like being normal, is fine, but if you can be different and make me remember that, like as a fan, it's like, oh, she's just so different and so like
right.
outgoing. I love that about her, and so
And
definitely
she's
like
a genuine person on top of that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
rare to come by. So it's like that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. She was really, really sweet, and she liked the horror movie stuff. I'm like, yes, same. I'm like, love horror movies,
Mhm.
and so that was like her moment for me. Like, she probably don't remember it now, but I was like, oh my god, she likes horror movies. Like, I like horror. I'm the weirdo who watch it year round, not
Oh,
just October.
I
I watch every like all day, every day. I watch a horror movie, and so for me,
yeah,
that
I'm
was
more of a gory movie kind of person, like Saws and stuff like that. But I
uh,
like Tim Burton's not horror, but like I like Tim Burton movies because I'm like it's just same thing, weird. I like weird, unusual stuff. I feel like it's more
yeah,
fun. So
yeah.
yeah.
So, how did you feel about the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Because I did watch it, and it was pretty gory. Uh,
I haven't seen it
but
yet. I'm
how
the
did
worst at seeing new movies. I'm the worst. I usually don't see movies until 5 years after they've been in theaters. I don't know why. I don't know why. That's just what I do apparently. So, but yeah, I haven't seen that one. And it's like I don't know. I've never been a. It sounds crazy, but I'm like I've never been a big TV person. I've always been like out of the house.
yeah?
I'm very like I stick to my like I Love Lucy friends.
Oh, I love Lucy.
Um,
That's one of my favorite old
I'm
time
also
shows.
like, yeah, oh my God. So that that woman, when I say she opened doors, I don't know what it is my deal with like redheads apparently. I like which now I'm like a kind of a redhead. I was like, oh, it was bound to happen. Um, but yeah, it's just like I stick to my stuff and I don't know why. I'm just weird. But yeah, it takes a lot. Same thing how you're saying it takes a lot for someone to grab you. Same thing, it takes a lot for a movie to grab me because or like a TV show because a lot of stuff, not especially nowadays, everything's remastered or it's like everything's
Yeah,
repetitive. So,
yeah.
but yeah.
Oh man, so I don't know if you know because you mentioned Lucy, but I believe they have like a documentary on her. I think March 5th or 4th or something on their Amazon Prime, and so I
Oh, they have
literally saw. Yeah, I saw the preview for it today, and I was like, I'm totally watching this because I absolutely love. She's like timeless. I tell people all the time. I was like, she's the one person that it doesn't seem like it's a big deal. If you just watch, I always laugh every time I watch it. It's no
yeah.
different. It's just, and then she was also so business smart too. Like
Yes.
she really did a lot of business smart. I was like, y'all have no idea half the stuff y'all like she was behind, and so just somebody who's able to have a show that's never been off air. Like it always showed that some station it always played. And I'm like, yeah, that's a hard thing to do, especially when you have people don't like something and then the show you never hear from it ever again. The fact that her
Yeah.
show from the 50s was able to just kind of stay online is just amazing.
Yeah.
So
No,
if you
especially like
can,
during the
definitely
time.
please watch that as well because I was hype about that this morning. I was like, oh my god, I'm watching this. I got so excited. I was like, oh,
I
I didn't even know
know.
she had a documentary coming out.
Yeah, no, I know her, I did watch I wonder if it's the same one, if it was on Prime, I don't remember. I remember watching because I was like, I saw the commercial, I was like, "Oh, I'm definitely watching this, I'm making time to watch this." It's called, like, Lucy and Desi or something like that. I watched that, and I was like I learned some stuff about Lucy where I was like, "Oh, she was a bad bitch." Like, I already knew it, but this is, like, a whole different confirmation. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay. Now I see you." I was like, "This is dope." So she yeah, like how we were saying, like, especially during that time in I think it was, like, the 20s, right? Was when that show came out, if I'm not wrong, 20s to 40s, around there.
Yeah,
I could
I
be
feel like the 40s. Yeah, 40s,
40s,
50s.
40s, there it is.
Yeah.
Um, we're in the 20s now, so my brain. Uh, but no, especially during that time, like, I know a lot of people don't even realize how much that show alone changed TV forever.
Yeah.
Like, they had to fight to even have Desi on the show because at the time it was like, oh well,
Yeah.
'cause he's Cuban and you're white, and I was just like, well, they're married in real life and everybody knows. And then there was a fight of, oh, they have to sleep in separate beds. I'm like, they're married, everybody knows. So like, when is that?
I never understood shows back then
Yeah,
who were so dope separate breaths. I'm like, well, if they're playing a married couple, it makes
right,
sense for them to
right.
be
But
together.
we
If it's
can't have
like
any
not
implications if
married,
they have
I guess
sex.
I get
Like,
that.
why is it's
Like, I guess if
insane?
you're having them like be together but not married, maybe if you're trying to have the whole values, I guess back then. But
Yeah,
they're married. I never understood that, and I'm like, I mean, I guess it makes no sense to me because they were really married as well. But
yeah. And then the whole oh, I could go on about this for hours, man. No, and then the whole freaking when she got pregnant on the show, she had to fight for that. Cause and you'll see I'm doing some spoilers, but you'll see in the movie too, like I knew about this before the movie, but this kind of went into a little bit more depth. where she was talking about how, like, when she was pregnant, they're like, oh, what do we do? She's like, what do you mean, what do we do? We put it on the show. Like, she's like, what is there to argue about?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you tell them. But I'm like, just even be, I could go, like I said, go. Last thing I'll say is like the camera angles is one other thing that I know that was brand new. Like
Yeah.
her and Desi, for what a douche he was for being in a relationship, he was also very business smart.
Yes.
As far as when it came to, well, I don't know about business, when it came to like TV and production. So like that was the first. That show is the reason why we have different camera angles now for every TV show in existence. And I was just like, wow, that's crazy. I never even. It's insane. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. I'm like, listen, again, she's like timeless. I feel like in like hopefully in another like 100 years or so, people would still, if the planet's still alive and all, that they would know who Lucy is, just because she's just super timeless. And like she definitely did. Even you mentioned the pregnancy episode, and they wouldn't even allow her to say she was pregnant, just like she's having a baby. And I'm like, you guys are so weird. Like everybody knows married couples, if they have kids, they have kids. Is that
why do you think you got here? Like it wasn't.
It was an odd thing to have. It's like, well, what do you think people do? Like,
yeah.
That's one of the options, I guess, being married, you might have a kid, so why is this such a taboo thing to mention? But I don't, the time period, I guess, it's weird, but.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite I Love Lucy episode?
Ooh, good question. My favorite one is one that they actually don't have, like, on Hulu and stuff. They don't have the first, like, 4 to 5 episodes. And it's the one, it was actually originally the pilot, and then they did it again later on, where Lucy goes to Ricky's show, and she's dressed, she has like a hat, she has like this like hat on, and I don't know if she's pretending to be a magician or like, oh no, she has what is it called? This thing. What's the instrument?
The violin, or yeah, I know which episode you're talking about.
Violin. Yeah, the big violin. Yeah, that thing. As you can tell, I'm a jock. What the hell? It's gonna bother me. It's gonna pop up randomly. Okay, but yeah, so she's like playing it, and it's like a comedy skit, and I think I liked it too because she was making Ricky laugh, and he kept breaking, and then she kept breaking for certain things. But I don't know. It was just I don't know if it was like. I like it because you could just feel the rawness of it, and like just feel like, oh no, we're gonna make this work. This is funny. Like you're gonna trust us no matter what. But of course they don't have it. But that one and the other one, which I haven't seen either. Which I'm like, I have all the discs. Like when not CDs, when DVDs were a thing. I have them somewhere, but a lot of them are all scratched up just from like moving around and whatnot. So. They're like, they'll stop halfway through the episode and then go back to the menu screen. I'm like, damn it. But the other one, only like 95 and older know what I'm talking about. Here for 1995 kids and older. But yeah, there's another episode where they're in Los Angeles, and I can't remember his name, but he's like chasing Lucy around their hotel room. And she like pretends to be him, and then at some point in the episode they're like mirroring each other. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Oh man, is it? No, that's not him. I was gonna say Groucho Marx, but that's not him because that's the guy.
I think that's right. No, you might be right.
Harpo? Is it Harpo?
Harpo. Yeah, I think that's right. Something Marx. Something. Yeah. But yeah, and I was just like, he doesn't talk or anything. He just whistles.
Yeah.
That's another one because she's like, and then it was just like. Because she was able to match him. And if anything, and again, could just be a little biased, but I'm like, I feel like she outshined him. And at the time, I wasn't from that time, so I don't know his extent of like celebrity and whatnot, but apparently he was a big deal. And anybody that was on that show, she was able to match.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's too many episodes. I'm gonna keep being like, oh, and then this one, oh, and then this one. So, yeah.
I think one of my favorite ones was the job switching episode. With the job switching one where she was like in the chocolate factory, and then they were supposed to be doing the housework, and it was just so ridiculous, but it was so funny. And I think the schedule one, when he puts her on the schedule.
Yeah.
I literally watched that like 2 weeks ago, and I like watched it like 3 times in a row just to laugh, because I'm like, this is like the most ridiculous.
It's amazing.
Like, it's so over the top, but it works so well. I'm like, again, she's one of the people who can do that without being raunchy or anything.
Yep.
It's like she was just genuinely laughing, and it's not like over the top or like crude humor. And there's nothing wrong with the people like that. It's just
No,
she didn't
yeah,
have to do over
it's
the top
universal.
to be funny, and
Yeah,
so
it's
I
universal.
appreciate that about her.
Yeah. No, 100%. She, like I said, she had something about her that a lot of people don't have, or anybody really has. And I'm like, she's able to portray that. And like I said, she stood toe to toe with the best. And I know, like, again, for that time, for a female, that wasn't heard of. Or they,
Yeah,
and besides her, the other ones that were considered toe to toe were like Marilyn Monroe, which again, I love Marilyn Monroe. Again, another bad bitch. What she did to get there, that's her business, but she still did stuff her way. But again,
yeah,
she was looked at as a sex symbol. And I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, but Lucy didn't have to be looked at as a sex symbol. And I'm like, that's awesome to me. So
yeah.
yeah, I think a lot of now talking about this, I wonder like moving forward if people are gonna be like, oh, I could tell she's a Lucy fan. You know what I mean? I'll be like, oh, I see her right there. Yeah. The reason why I'm such a sarcastic bitch, you could think Lucy. Oh, yeah.
So you mentioned that you were a jock, which I'm
Yeah.
totally not. I think the most athletic I probably was like I did track very, very little. And then I was like they was like had to be to school early. I was like, I gotta be to school. What time? Okay, I'm not going. And so
Yeah.
that was like
Clearly
again
not.
uh, for me, I was like, I am not coming to school at 7 a.m. Oh, that's just not happening. And so that was the one that like that was the end of my very small track. Maybe could have been something I don't know, but I
Yeah.
was like bookie, like books. I was like kind of a nerd, or I like had to have good grades. That was me. So I know you said you liked soccer, but is there any other sports that you actually like to do, or you happen to pay attention to, or you're kind of like following it along?
So it's once I hit wrestling, I like stopped paying attention so much because I'm like, I'm a tunnel vision kind of person. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, here's my goals. I'm like, this is what I'm aiming for. But no, so like, yeah, playing soccer and stuff like that. I never followed it outside. I played it for like pretty much 20 years, and that was my sport. Um, but I followed like football. I'm a big football nerd as far as like, I guess we'll say that I'm a nerd when it comes to watching the games, and I'll
yeah,
be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Like if we're like if I'm at a bar with my friends or like we're out somewhere and a game's on, like look at this idiot. Why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like stupid crap like
yeah.
that. But yeah, I like football. Basketball was cool until now everyone just flops. I'm like, oh, everything hurts. So I'm like, get the hell out of here. Like I'm so sick of this crap. I'm just like, dude, like don't like either. I'm like MJ today. Listen, all right. MJ, so many of you guys like your head's on a platter. It's insane. But no, yeah, I guess football. The Bears need to they gotta do something. They gotta figure something out.
I didn't really watch football. I mean, it was people like I did love Tom Brady, but I think my reasoning for him was just the story originally, as far as him being like picked really late in the draft, and I
Mhm.
respect that. I'm like, see, nobody thought he was going to do anything, and look at him now.
Yeah.
And so for that, taking all the other stuff as far as like the scandals that happened, whatever with the team, just that for me is always a cool like, oh man, you guys really like underestimated this guy, and he kind of
Mhm.
proved a lot of people wrong. And so for that, I did appreciate that, like that part of like him, like, see, you guys didn't think he would be anything important at all, and look, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So I knew like little pieces there, but I never, it wasn't the Super Bowl, and then usually got forced to watch that. I don't like, I do not pay attention to football at all. In basketball, I did a little bit where I kind of knew what was happening, but
Mhm.
not where I follow anymore. I just don't really follow anything as far as like it's not wrestling, but it's because I have to kind of do it.
Yeah.
Because I now work a lot, and it's like okay, I have to watch wrestling, and so you
Yeah.
know that. But
It's
that
hard to follow everything. Like my stepdad, like and he's the one that used to keep me up to date, but then obviously I'm not around him as much anymore.
yeah,
So rarely ever see him. But he'd keep me up to date. He's someone like knows, oh, this guy's stats are this. This guy in high school had stats like this. Oh, that guy, oh, his name is. I'm like, what the? I'm like, how do you like memorize all this? I'm like, can you help me in life memorizing stuff? Like, I don't know. It's insane. But yeah, he'd give me like the rundown and I'd be like, okay, cool, got it. And then that would kind of stick. But now I'm like, so because again, he was like my connection in between. Where I'm
yeah,
like, I can watch it, but I'm like, I can't follow it like how he follows it. So
yeah.
he has like the ESPN app on his, oh, this person, that person. So every once in a while when I'll hear stuff, I'll shoot him a message like, hey, you hear about this guy? And he's like, yeah, this is stupid. Just going back and forth. But yeah,
How was your experience? I know you work with NWA or worked with NWA, and then I believe there was some also work with WWE. So how was that experience as far as kind of, you know, working with both companies? They're very different, different products in a way. And so how was that experience as far as just even behind the scenes, but also working as like on camera talent?
So WWE was more so Mustafa Ali. He came to Chicago, well, because he's from Chicago,
Yeah,
and he at the time like was close with my trainer Bryce Benjamin and all that stuff. So he needed some like extras pretty much for this project that he was putting together, and I got thrown in the mix. So that's kind of how I was a part of WWE, which I'm like I technically didn't do. I didn't go there. I wasn't like with them or anything like
yeah,
that, unfortunately. But that's the closest I got so far. But yeah, so that was really cool. Like he was like very like he's like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I need. We did it. He was happy with it. I was like, dope. For NWA, that was more so I actually got to wrestle, and that was insane to me because I'm like, oh, I'm sharing a locker room with females that I watched growing up.
yeah,
I was like, this is crazy. I'm like, I remember watching Mickey James and the Trish Stratus thing, the entire thing unfold, and I'm like, I hope she couldn't tell on my face. Cause I'm like, I'm trying to hold it in. Cause again, I'm there to work, right? I'm here to do
yeah,
my job. And I'm like, I'm trying to, play it cool, but she was like so sweet. Her son was there. Her son's like adorable. So it was like cute watching them, her and her son like watch her husband on the show and all that stuff. So that was cool. I got to meet Melina. I got some awesome advice from her, which again, it's like when I step back, I'm just like, and I saw her at the Royal Rumble. I was just like,
yeah.
she gave me advice. I talked to her for like 30 minutes. I was like, bro, this is insane. So that was more of an educational experience. And then Jazz is another one as well, who she was a little bit before I started watching wrestling. Like literally when I say right before.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I didn't get too familiar with her until after on, but yeah, same thing. She helped with some of the matches and she gave me good feedback, and she's amazing. She's sweet. She was when she did her retirement speech in the ring, again, I don't know what it is. I guess wrestling makes me happy cry, but she was like trying to with her speech and stuff in that ring. I was just like, ugh. But yeah, it's just like I'm literally sharing a locker room and looking at women that are some of the pioneers to why I'm able to do this right now. I'm like, I'm getting goosebumps, like just talking about it. I'm like, this is like, it's
Yeah,
surreal. Something where, when you're a little girl, you're just like, you can only dream of. And now it's
yeah,
like, and it's easy when you're wrestling to kind of, when you're in it, to not realize you're in it, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Because again, you're here, you're doing it, you've done the training, and now you're at least mine is, I could be wrong, but my mind's just like, okay, make sure you do your job, do it well. You gotta show who you are, you gotta all that, the fun stuff. So it's like it's really easy to get lost in, okay, we're in this world, and I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, but I'm like, remember when you were out of this world? Now you're in the same world that you were looking out, looking in, sort of thing. So that was cool. And then the other place, AEW, I did some dark matches for. And again, Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes, like, gives me advice, I'm like, I don't know. I can't, same thing, kind of the same atmosphere as far as like I get to now pick the brains of people that, I don't know, have done so much for this business. So I'm like, I feel like I'd be ignorant and extremely disrespectful if I didn't take full advantage of that, if I could.
yeah,
So yeah, it's hard. Like I said, it's hard to like, as I'm talking about it, it's kind of like, it's one of those things when I talk about it, it kind of hits me and I'm just kind of like, oh shit, I did something. Uh,
yeah.
so, but no, overall, I've had good experiences with everything so far. Knock on wood. But yeah, so I can't really complain.
That's great. Yeah, I got to meet Jazz last year.
Mhm.
The all black woman show, which was really cool. And I was doing like some backstage stuff for the girl who was doing the show. And so when I saw her, I definitely had a moment of like fangirling, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, she's right here. And so it took me like 10 minutes to get myself together, and I went, okay, like just talk to her. But it was just in my head, it's like I watched you on TV, and like I'm back here with wrestlers, but I watched you on TV, and like you're somebody who is super dominant. And so the fact that you're like a few feet away from me, and she was really really nice, gave me some awesome advice as well because I was so nervous, and I was just doing interviews, so it wasn't even something like wrestling or always power to the wrestlers. I was like, I can never like take the bumps, or I personally just can't. I'm always so just so much respect for wrestlers because they do so much that it doesn't seem like they do, but they do, and it's just like talking more and more to them. It's like, yeah, you guys are like amazing, and so just to be in that, and then I got to interview Mickey James a few weeks ago with another group I work with, and she was actually very kind too, and I'm like, another person who's like so amazing and so talented, but you're just so sweet, and like I never would have thought I would have been interviewing you. Like she's Mickey James, and so definitely like I it's always that like, oh my god, that happened. Like, so I totally understand. Like just kind of like looking back, like, oh man, I actually did that. Like, never
right? If only like your little girl self was like, you were talking to your little girl self, you're like, hey, one day you're gonna be doing this. You know what I mean? Like it's insane.
And see, for me, it's pretty recent. Like, I didn't think I would do anything wrestling. Like, I love wrestling. I've loved it since I was watching with my grandma. Like, she's who got me into wrestling. And then, but I never thought I would be like involved in any way. It was just like, oh yeah, I watch it like every day. Or I used to like again obsessive where I had to watch everything Jeff Hardy was on. And so, I never would have imagined that I would be doing any of this. And so it's always just really like cool that I get to talk to people and just like, oh, you did this and you did that, and so I'm always very grateful for even the other wrestlers I get to talk to, which includes you. Just always kind of to be like, yeah, come on, just talk, we just chat because you guys are people too, So it's always for me, it's always just such a nice thing just to kind of chat with people who you never know. It's always just a nice thing when I get to talk to people, and I'm like, you guys have no idea how honored I'm always am to talk to all of you because I'm so new and I was it's just like 2 years. So like I'm so new. And
yeah, you're doing an amazing job. From what I mean, yeah, no, for real. No, and that's the thing, like same thing. I have respect for like how you have respect for wrestlers, and like I have respect for you guys. Because again, if you guys weren't doing this like to help us, nobody would know who the hell we were. You know what I mean? Nobody would really care. So it's just like, no, I have a respect for you guys too, because you guys are taking time out of your day, out of your life, out of your work schedule to be like, okay, I want to talk to this person at this time. Okay, like you're trying to make your schedule work for us, and I'm just like, it means a lot. It's a two-way street here, so I understand.
Thank you. Yeah, I would tell her, and not to sound like sappy, because I am a crier. I cry about everything, and so I'm definitely a crier. I really cry. I laugh. I cry. I get mad. I cry, and I'm happy to go. And I start crying. So I'm always just really grateful that anybody ever goes, oh, shocked. And I'm like, you guys don't even understand. I'm like always worried that I'm like, who are you? No. And I'm just like, well, a no's a no, but you know, it's always really nice. So
well, anybody who says that to you, by the way, they could tell them they could kiss my ass, because that's so disrespectful. That's so unnecessary.
No, I try to be like, like I know I'm really new compared to other people who've been doing.
But still, you're still doing the same thing, and that's where I'm like, I get my main thing, and like anybody who knows me, I'm like, I hate the bullying. I hate just hate unnecessary drama. Hate for no reason. I'm like, where everybody, I don't want to say role. I hate saying the word role because then it sounds like, oh, know your role, and it's just like, no, not like that. But it's like everyone does have like somebody, how do I say this where I don't sound like a complete douchebag? Everybody has their, can give what they can give. You know what I mean? So like I give my part in the ring. You give your part to interview and help get the backstage stuff or like the backstory. So it's like everything's a giant puzzle and there you go. Everyone's a puzzle. Everyone's a different piece. So it's just like, that's why I hate when they're like, oh, who do you think you are? Well, who the freak? Sorry, I won't say the F word. Who the hell do you think you are? It's just like, well, what? Who are you at one point? Everybody's somewhere. So somebody does that to you, let me know.
I really had one situation where the guy was kind of rude. I was just like, okay, I'm always really professional when I email people. It's just like, that's how I was raised. And I'm like, listen, I did work office jobs before. I've done the retail, and so I know how to turn on a customer. It's not like a big deal. But I was just like, okay, well, enjoy your day. Like, I was a little annoyed. I was annoyed, but I was still very respectful of my response. And so it was
I'm
just like,
sorry. I'll apologize
no
for
worries.
apologize. So
So we are going to do a quick speed round of questions.
okay.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and you're gonna tell me the first thing that pops in your head.
Okay.
Ready? Okay, last song you had on repeat.
It was shit. Oh, I'm panicking. It was I can't think of the song. See, and I'm the worst. My brain does not like to remember names and stuff. But it was a punk rock band. It's a newer song that I just found. And I was just like, yeah, and I just kept putting it on repeat. I don't know, but before that, it was definitely like a Justin Bieber song, probably like the newer song that he has out. I'm a Justin Bieber fan too.
I feel like I know what song you're talking about.
Yeah.
I feel like I know what song you're talking about. Okay. Favorite go-to snack that isn't donuts?
I guess right now I'm on a kick of there's these little rice cakes that you could get in a bag. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They're like the ones I get are caramel, however the hell you want to say it. But yeah, I'm just like those. I'm like I gotta make sure like I don't eat a lot of because I'm like it's a lot of carbs. So, but I'm like oh, these are so addicting. But right now that's that and there's these cauliflower Cheez-Its. Really.
Oh, nice. That's interesting. Let's try those then.
They taste like Cheez-Its too, surprisingly.
Okay, gotta keep that in mind and like the head just to make sure that I can find this. I like trying new things. If I don't like it, I won't like it, but I try to. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I'm both and neither. I'm a very weird individual. So I'm good at getting up early if I need to and like going about the day. Like I'm not. I have family members that they'll wake up. They're just like, hey, I'm just automatically angry. I'm like, I'm not like that. But at the same time, I'm usually up to like 2, 3 in the morning anyway. So yeah, I can go. It depends. It depends on how my schedule is. You know, if I'm able to be up all night, I'm gonna be up all night. If I have to get up early and go to bed kind of like a little bit early, then I'll do that too. I'm very interesting, I guess.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Mind reading.
Oh, nice. So you right to it.
No, 100%. Because I'm like, I hate. I'm just like, it just makes it easier. I'm like, I'm a very blunt person. I'm very like straight to the point. So I'm not. If someone like sugarcoats something, I'm not gonna get it. Like it's just not gonna happen. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be like, oh, if you're sugarcoating something, well, then that obviously means that it's fine if I do this instead of what you're saying. So you know what I mean? Because you're not being correct about it. So I'm like, that would take that out of it. Or are you a fan of Charmed?
Yes.
Oh, that's another show I used to watch all the time. Paige's power, where she used to orb and move stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have to take a plane because planes give me anxiety. Just the whole process of it and like I don't like being in the air in the water that is like I'm not on the ground. I can't run away in the air or in water. So, yeah. Not at ground.
If you were stuck on a remote island and you can only take 3 things, what 3 things would you take?
My dog, some donuts, and probably we'll say my I Love Lucy DVD set. We'll say that. Because I always have something to watch.
That's a solid list, though. I mean, listen, got companionship, got food, and entertainment. I feel like those are really solid.
Yeah.
If you can talk to anybody, dead or alive, you can just have a conversation with them, who would that person be and why?
100% Lucille Ball. Just because, again, just to pick her brain about so many different things, like how were you able to, besides being her bad self, how were you able to just break barriers, I guess? But I don't even know. It could be a thing that she didn't even know she was purposely doing. She was just being herself. So, yeah, just a bunch of questions like that. And like, how did you persevere on those dark days? And like, On the days that you were constantly getting fought against, like, how did you be like, nope, I know I'm right about this. Like, you got to trust me. So
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Nice. And last question for this speed round. If someone asks you advice as far as getting into wrestling, what advice would you give them for somebody just starting or just coming into
Don't do it. No, just kidding.
wrestling?
No, but yeah, just be prepared. Like, it's not. Before I got into wrestling, I tried to watch every interview I could to try to mentally prepare you. And all of them literally said the same thing. There's nothing that you can watch or listen to that's going to prepare you, and they're not wrong. It's a whole different world. I got into this, I think, a lot more naive, thinking everyone was like me and like, oh, everyone, we don't go out there and kill it. We have everyone's best intentions in mind, or everyone's, but it's like, oh no, there's some mean people out there that are very selfish, and there's like some high school like drama and stuff like that, which I was like, I'm 26. I thought I graduated high school like years ago, but apparently not. But again, with the bad, you got to be prepared with the bad, because then you're going to get the good. And the good with that is, again, I've been able to meet my heroes. I've been able to get advice from them, and and hopefully, and some of them I've been somewhat able to share the ring with in a way. And hopefully down the road we'll be able to share the road with as well. So it's just, I'm someone who really believes in this. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, bow and arrow effect, which is like life pulls you back to shoot you forward. So it's just something to always keep in mind, I guess. Yeah, it's not easy, but as long as you know within yourself why you're really doing this, then you can do it. Yeah.
I love
That's all.
that. Great advice. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to kind of give you the floor that, like, if you have anything new coming up, anything you want to promote, anything you want to share, the floor is yours.
Oh God, no pressure. So pretty much, definitely be a lookout for some new social media posts. I've been taking a break for a while. I have been healing some injuries and whatnot. So, but I'm coming back, and let's just say my eyes have been opened, to say the least. And yeah, there's gonna be some changes coming. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. All social media, which is Missa Kate 11, there, which is on Twitter and Instagram. See if I can remember all this stuff. I have an OnlyFans that is Missa Kate, and I'm just saving you guys the now. No, I don't do nudes. Some dude tried asking me, because I didn't say I did in my like little thing, but this freaking ass face was like, oh, you're not doing nudes, I demand a refund. I was like, I didn't say I did. And he was like, oh, I'm gonna bury you. I was like, good, go for it, do that. But yeah, so pretty much I use OnlyFans as like a private Instagram, we'll say. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not gonna show more than what my bikini shows, because again, I work hard for my body, so I'm gonna show off what I feel like. Hey, I worked hard to get these legs. I worked hard to get these arms, this back. You're gonna see it. You gotta deal with it. But yeah. So, and then I also have a podcast with my trainer Bryce Benjamin. It's called Agree to Disagree. It's on Spotify. I don't know if it's on iTunes. It's through Anchor, so Anchor is pretty cool, and that hooks you up. So but I know it's through Spotify, which we're gonna be having some very interesting episodes coming up. Very inside scoops about some things. And last but not least, I have a vlog. I call my vlog thingy, because that's really what it is. It's not, I don't know what it is. It's just something I like to do because I'm bored. So I'm going to be I've been more consistent recording those. I know I say that every time I do like a podcast, but I'm actually sticking to it now because quarantines made me realize a lot. And I'm just like, no, just like everybody, we need to do what makes us happy. And that's something that makes me happy, editing, having fun with my friends, and enjoying what wrestling to me, what wrestling should be, So that's what I try to show. And then, if I beat people up, that's just a bonus.
Well, that's amazing. I So I have this podcast, but then I also did my writing because I'm a writer, separate from wrestling writing. I do like separate from my non-fictional writing or writing articles, I do fiction writing, and so I did have a podcast with another writer of mine. And so we did go on a hiatus because I'm also a big believer in mental breaks. I feel like quarantine definitely hit that home for me because for me it was actually very hard because then you're kind of used to doing certain things and then it's like, oh no, this is gone.
Yep.
And I did struggle with it. I did. And so I kind of was forced to kind of do other things, which is actually how the wrestling stuff started. I was like, let me
Yeah.
see, like, I do like wrestling, so let's see if I can do something with that. And it kind of went to this. So what I'm like always grateful. I'm always tell people if you need a mental health break, take it. I will never think that my podcast or something is more important than your mental health. And so we did take a break. But that just was really cool. Always just kind of chat with her because it was like we were always never on the same side of stuff. We always arguing, but it's always like funny. Banter is never like really serious or mad or anything. It's always like that, just really weird. Like, oh, she's Team Instinct, and I'm like, ew, I'm Team Backstreet. So it's always that just that back and forth that we always have with each other.
Right. No, but that's what makes it cool. Cause same thing,
Yeah.
my trainer and I, our differences, he's black, I'm white, I'm a female, he's male, he's older, I'm younger. So we have a lot of stuff that we're like, okay, you're from here, I'm from here. Let's see if we can find common ground. If not, why do you disagree? That's why it's called agree to disagree. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
exactly.
definitely something I do like enjoy doing this podcast. It's always just nice to kind of have that dynamic in the mix. But I'm also again a big mental health. I would tell people like, listen, if you need a break, take it, please. This podcast will still be here, or this interview. Even with the interviews, I've had people I had to switch stuff for, and I'm like, listen, I'm never that person that's gonna be like, oh my god, why did we switch? Because I'm like, no, that's kind of important. I feel like you want to be your best self as much as possible, and so do what you need to do. So definitely, we'll have all the links in the description. So please like, follow, listen to the podcast, support the OnlyFans because I think that's super awesome. I mean, I'm not like brave enough for that personally, but anybody who does, I always think it's so cool. It's like, listen, do what you need to do. I'm always about getting your coins. Be bad, be that chick, whatever you need to do. I'm a firm believer in that too. So, and no asking about news, guys. Like she said it again. Just I feel like I need to reiterate that part. She's not doing news, so don't be upset.
I mean, I don't care because then I get to tell them to go F themselves. So it's kind of like a win-win either way.
I just feel like reading is really fundamental. Like if it was there, it would be there. But
yeah,
people are weird. But definitely support, and thank you so much for coming on. You've been a really fun chat. Like,
thanks for having me on. This is fun. And I again, like the whole time before we even started, I was like, oh, your posters are dope in the background. I'm like, I swear I'm not staring at you like a creep. And she got Baby Yoda back there too.
But yeah, I love Virgo. I love him. He's so cute.
I've never seen Mandalorian, but I have seen Baby Yoda because Baby Yoda. But no, seriously, thank you for having me on. This was fun. And this is my first podcast that I've done in a couple months. So
nice.
I appreciate it.
I'm just grateful. Anybody who ever agrees to come on is always just nice to talk to people and just be like, let's see what's going on behind the wrestling stuff and so. But until next time, guys, I will catch you later. Bye.